Okay, if everybody's okay, we have 19 so far, and I know there's others that are going to be delayed, but they're joining us, and we'll get started. Is that okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everybody to mute if they wouldn't mind, just for the duration, to allow for the proper recording of this. And there will be a time as well for Q&A at the close. So let's get started.
I don't know whether I'm on mute or not. How do I know if I'm on mute?
Okay, everybody mute. Thank you. And if you don't feel comfortable putting your screen on, that's fine. I particularly like it because I think it's nice to be able to feel like you're actually physically there with people. Okay, so I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to attend our information webinar this morning. The focus is on the Port Tourism Network and engaging coastal collaboration. We are going to look at three things: the goals, the opportunities, and the benefits. This initiative is in conjunction with the University College Cork, and I know I have a couple of people here from the university on the call this morning, and likewise on the Welsh side from Aberystwyth University in Wales, which is where I studied myself. So that's just a complete coincidence. Okay, so and also it's part of a EU fund for Ireland Wales. So this is quite a big initiative. The network element of it is part of a bigger plan that was put together and started quite some time ago. So what's the focus and what's the vision and why were you invited here today? You're invited to learn a bit about something that could benefit, well, will benefit, absolutely benefit the 5 ports that we're going to be speaking about this morning. And they include Fishguard, Pembrokeshire, Dublin, Rosslare, and Holyhead. And there are other associated areas, like in respect of Pembrokeshire, you have Milford Haven there in the mix as well. So the focus this morning and the vision is to support, engage, help all the ports and the businesses around them diversify and grow, and also the community to grow, because if a port benefits, the economy around it and the community around it benefits as well, to engage, encourage and empower some positive collaboration and sustainable business and progress for the ports. Now, the Ports Past and Present initiative was born out of a creative element to tell untold stories from each port. But that is a massive benefit to tourism in the areas as well. And that's something we'll touch on in a minute. Just very quickly, who are we? My name is Mags Bola-Murphy. A lot of you know me. A lot of you have spoken to me. And for those of you that haven't, we are a business enterprise. We're a business enterprise specialist consultancy based in Wexford. We work all over the world and all over the country in Ireland here with businesses that are focused and committed on making progress. That's essentially it. My own background is tourism. Like a few people here, I trained in the sector. I trained as a hotel manager and I've always been involved in it operationally. So, and I think it's a sector that it's like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. But if you love it, it's like a drug. You just can't get away from it. Okay. And you're dealing, and if you like dealing with people, it's always a good sector to be in as well. Apologies, now people keep joining here. Okay, so that's who we are. We're All-Star accredited. We're experienced tourism and hospitality consultancy as well, because all of us that work in this business are all from that sector. And we provide a plethora of businesses, which I'm not going to go on about, but that in a nutshell is who we are. I have this saying: progress and success are choices. Do it, achieve it, and choose it. And I say that because I believe that if you are focused on making progress, you can do it, but you have to take action to do it. And this port network is a platform that will be facilitated and set up by myself and Jenny and Romain here in conjunction with the other key stakeholders. But it's no good without people taking an interest, contributing, and actually getting into it and getting involved, okay? So who is it for? This network will be for you, your businesses, your port, your region and your community. So the likes of tourism and port businesses and those around it. So people have asked me recently, is it just Rosslare in the state? Just talking about Rosslare for a minute because it's the closest one to us physically. No, it's not. It's any of the businesses around in the local area around that, okay? Tourism and port businesses, focused and committed area business owners, those who rely on port traffic in some extent for their business, local authorities in each of the regions, and sector representative bodies in each of the regions. The network that helps your port and your business to grow season on season in a unified, positive, practical, and collaborative manner. Now, a little bit about me when it comes to how I approach these initiatives. I don't do something like this unless I'm focused on it and unless I want it to succeed. So I'm serious when the language that we're using here, not just words we're throwing out, unified, positive, practical, and collaborative. They're keywords. They mean something, okay? And they're going to be very much part of what this plan going forward. The project mission is to provide an established, strong and supportive tourism network for 5 dedicated port and coastal areas where there is consistent and real support excuse me, for the dedicated, focused and committed business owners and port businesses and the associated tourism sector. It's as simple as that. And we want this to not just be, you know, networks are 10 a penny, let's be honest with you, they are, okay? And we ask ourselves here in the office sometimes, what's the value of this to us, to our business? So that's what we're looking at here as well. The defined aims and some of the goals at the minute that we have outlined as part of this initiative for the areas, first and foremost, to provide opportunities to learn and educate on specifics, which will help the port areas and the business within each port to move forward and progress in a sustainable and positive manner. None of us know everything, right? You know your craft and your skill set as a business owner, the service and offer you provide, you know how to do that inside out. However, there's always areas that like I'm not a solicitor. I go to a solicitor if I need one. I go to a doctor if I need one. So this is going to bring experts to the table to support and educate you to move forward, because things are going to become more challenging and you need that. You need to be as strong as you can be. To capitalise on heritage and culture creative stories associated with each physical port, location and its surrounds. So the Ports Past and Present initiative has developed a beautiful suite of media, ready-made video, media and physical story pieces. I know some of them we've been sharing out on social media in the lead up to this information webinar as well. And they're gorgeous pieces, professionally used and produced, and they're there for the taking, to use them in your business and in your port. To support season extension, greater percentage occupancy rate, increased footfall and revenue growth. Now, all those terms they're sector terms, right? But they matter because these are the things that we have to do in the area. We need to extend our season. We have to, and this is something we work with clients on all the time. How do you extend the shoulder season? How do you extend it? How do you push it out into October and possibly November sometimes? There's one business I know in the sector that's open 365 days. They're not open Christmas Day, but they're open every other day, right? So helping them to do that, greater percentage occupancy rates. If we can up the rates of percentage occupancy in each of our areas, then you have more money in the economy, you have more money going into businesses, and you've growth and development and revenue growth for each of the businesses, okay? So there are things that we are very, very specific about supporting. To facilitate a sector-focused business network, right? Which is dedicated purely to tourism businesses and those who rely on the tourism industry for business at each port and its surrounding area. One of the things for me, especially when I opened my own business and I made the decision that I wanted to support tourism businesses as part of we support construction, retail, media, professional services as well. But tourism was one I was never going to not support. And there are very, very few sector business networks for tourism, very few. And if there are, do they add value? So another focus that we have is to add value, to make it applicable to those that are in the network, not just a talk and shop or a teacup facility, right? It's something that's actually going to support and be productive. To empower quality and productive collaborative cross-coastal opportunity between the ports. So that's basically a choice too. But it's to help you to do that and to show you how to do it. That we've just done it. Jenny's here in the office with me this morning. She's there waving, wave Jenny. That we can work collaboratively together, either with other ports across the Irish Sea, or even if it's ports on our own coastline, either Wales or Ireland, it doesn't matter. But if it helps you strengthen your offering, increase your footfall, increase your bottom line, it's all good stuff. To support the use of all media and heritage story material and associated creatives from the ports past and present, that's going to be something we'll be doing a workshop on, and we'll talk about that in a moment. To help port businesses to learn new and valuable skills that will help them to develop their business, their area, and their revenue. Let's face it, we're all here to grow and make money and sustain what we have, right? That's what business owners do, and that's why SMEs in particular are so valuable to the economy. There's more of them than large enterprises in both our countries, in both the UK side of it in Wales and in Ireland as well. And to enable the ports to showcase their destination experience to key decision makers in an engaging, authentic, and unique way. To deliver training workshops that will help businesses to learn to collaborate, build a heritage tourism strategy, engage their ideal visitors with creative storytelling, exercise marketing magic, and a lot more. So because I have a very much an ops background as well, I'm going to bring in operations pieces into that also to support businesses. And to engage with a new innovative app, which the University of Aberystwyth and the University of Lancaster have worked to develop. It is called Ports Places, and you can download it on Apple or I think it's Google Shop, isn't it, Jenny? Yeah, Google Store. But it's just, if you do go and download it, just be aware that it's been developed at the moment and not all the content is on it. But this will help ports to be connected to each other and draw users to their destination in a readily accessible way. I suppose we have to acknowledge that we live in a digital market space. And how do we balance that with the real face-to-face piece? So that app is going to be very, very valuable. Now, anything is only valuable to you if you make use of it. So that'll be discussed as well. And we'll have somebody talking about the actual app who developed it. Okay, the model that we're going to is a little bit going to go with the network model is a little bit different to any other model, to be honest with you. And that's because I'm very definitive about building this around the sector and around the needs of the people in the sector. And I think that's important. So it's going to be, we're going to take an approach of peak season versus prep season. So in your peak season, you're firefighting. You're just getting into it. You're running each day. You're getting through each day at the peak season, and you want to get out the other side. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. And then the prep season, or the off season, but I kind of consider it the prep season because the off is negative connotations. And I think the prep season is when you should be preparing and planning for your next season of chaos. So in the peak season, there won't be any structured long meetings or presentations. There will be bite-sized support, because let's face it, when you're operationally in the industry, you don't have time for this. You don't have time to be going to meetings, right? Your time is your most valuable commodity during the peak season, that and your customers coming through the door. So there will be support there, and we'll be organising that in a bite-sized fashion and quality, not rubbish, not time wasting, not stuff that's not going to benefit you. The prep season is when the work happens. And yes, it's a network, and it's there to help you network with other business owners, but it's also there to help you plan proactively, right? One of the things that we find when we go into businesses up and down the country in different sectors, but particularly in tourism, because they don't have the time to, and it's very hard for them to make the time, is they don't have time to plan proactively. So it's like firefighting. Right. So my focus with that would to be utilize that piece of time to help you to learn new ways of doing things, to write a plan that's going to help you move forward and to progress, and also to talk to each other, because sometimes two minds are better than one, right? And I think we learn stuff all the time from people when we're speaking to them, and you'll have a light bulb moment because of maybe something someone said. Okay, so that's the model we're going with. And when it's all laid out, we'll be communicating it out to people as well. Creative heritage engagement. Research has shown that this is one of the key things, and I know we've Karen here Karen, I'm tongue-tied and I know the facility really well. Help me out here, Jenny. Heritage Park, sorry, Jesus, I should know it. I've been down there so many times. Anyway, so the Irish National Heritage Park is an example on the Irish side, and I'm sure there's examples on the Welsh side as well, where it's rich in heritage. But research has shown in the last 12 months, in particular post-COVID, people want that heritage piece. They want to feel a connection to the area. They want to know about the story of the area. They want to experience the physical area. So there's going to be a focus on that. Supportive information, short, smart, to the point, supportive. Offline and online in harmony. I'm a firm believer that we need a hybrid model. Because we work in the tourism sector. We're not robots. And I think that it balances out. It keeps things balanced, right? That's the model of business I've always had. We've had online and offline remote access in our business since 2013. So, and someone said to me, post-COVID, you'll probably go 100% online. No, I won't. It's just not the way I work. So I think we're going to bring offline and online and harmony into that. And it's going to be a flexible piece as well. Proactive port and business planning. So it's not just the businesses, but it's looking at each port as well and helping them to plan, helping the businesses in and around the port to plan their strategy for the season going forward. Positive collaboration and quality collaboration. Collaboration is one of the most powerful tools in tourism at the moment, globally, not just nationally or internationally across the water, it's globally. So there's 56 miles between, just to give an example, between the Irish coast and the Welsh coast. I was told that by somebody recently. 56 miles, depending on what point you're at. If it's Dublin, it could be a bit longer, I'm not sure, but it's 56 miles. And that's like taking a trip on the road, right? So why not work collaboratively? There's plenty of room for it. The model as well is based on learning, engaging in a unified way. All right. So it's very much about supporting each other across the ports. So the network model is going to be tailored around the sector specifically and all the port businesses in the 5 ports. Now, this is the thing that I always ask. What's the benefit to me? What's the benefit to my business, right? Because you get sick of being asked to join networks and do that. And you have to justify your time and you have to justify any other spend associated with it. Initially, there's going to be no fee for a specific length of time, but we want to get there, but it's going to be minimum. Whatever way it goes, it'll be very low fee. But I think that we need to look at the benefits for you guys, right? So I just need to move some screens around here. Joys of modern technology. Okay. Support from local authority representatives. So we've been speaking to all the local authority representatives and bodies in the areas of most of the ports. I know there's 1 or 2 we're still waiting to talk to, but there is a real openness there for this. It's been viewed as very progressive and we want to just engage that, I think, as well. I think the tourism sector needs that support. They need it, and possibly needed nationally in both Wales and Ireland as well at the moment, but that's another day's talk. So marketing and media, looking at opportunities for your business. I'm a marketing specialist as well as a business and enterprise one, and I always look at how can we increase engagement with businesses? How can we increase more traffic into businesses for our clients? That's a key piece of our business. Good morning, Sabrina. Okay, market diversification, a big thing, huge amount of opportunity for good synergy. So we will be working around looking at all the opportunities that are there and helping you guys to develop those opportunities, right? Learn new skill sets from subject specialists. So for instance, none of us are social media experts. Maybe one of two of you are, but we'll be bringing social media experts who understand the tourism sector in to speak on those topics as well. And there's none of us, 100% know everything. So there's always really good opportunities to learn that is very specific to the ports and to the actual sector. Community networking, regular networking opportunities. It's not just about networking here, it's about showing you how to network in your local community and showcase what you're offering as well. Support from industry experts, and we're going to speak a bit about that as well. And cross-coastal collaboration. That's a big one. That's a big one. Because I have a saying here that we shouldn't be defined by our location. It should never be defined by your location, right? Like we work with clients in Sweden, the UK. We've one starting in a couple of months, actually, Jen. I never told you about that. In Australia, we've worked with clients in the States and all over Ireland. And there is no reason why anyone should be defined by their location. So I think cross-coastal collaboration is going to be very, very central to this. And I think it's a massive opportunity for anybody who gets involved. Now, I want to expand on some of those points a little bit more, right? So associated networking opportunities. So you get an opportunity to consistently share ideas with like-minded businesses, benefit from support of network owners, develop new collaborations which may help to increase your revenue, develop new collaborations which may help to extend your season, support again from the local authority representatives that I mentioned, the cross-coastal collaboration again, and community networking opportunities. That's just looking at the networking opportunities side of it. Marketing and media opportunities. There's power in numbers. And especially when you're dealing with the media, we will show you how to do press releases, how to structure your sales and marketing activity schedule for the year ahead. And it'll be done with very simple tools. We're not going to make this complicated when it doesn't need to be. So we're going to look at things like pitching, packaging, and pricing for success, something we do all the time with clients. Is how do you do that to help more engagement? The PPP app inclusion, which will help you connect with each other and your ideal visitors and guests. Showcase and opportunities in a collaborative way. How do you showcase each port and how do you showcase your business that is part of that port? Benefit from press and advertising online and offline. Show you how to do that. FAM trips, that's a tourism terminology, but it means familiarization trips. So we're going to show you how to organize these things. A FAM trip is a massive piece of value if you use it properly and if you are able to set it up properly. It's not rocket science, but there are two event managers, national event managers here in the mix. We know how to do this stuff. So things like this that are going to help you step up to the plate. But I'm going to say something now. This is a choice too, right? And just remember that because we will need your contribution and we will really welcome it because we're facilitating the establishment of this. I would love for this, and I would hope that when we establish this, that it's there for the long term. It's there consistently. It's not just done 1 month, not done the next. That doesn't work. Consistency is when success happens. If you do something consistently, right? Inclusion in marketing, collateral, and circulation. We'll show you the tools that you can use. Some of them are free that you can use in your business that are not going to cost you anything except a little bit of time to help you market your own business, right? And your port as well. There's loads of collateral that's after being developed. I'm going to show you. So I know Catherine Agnew is here this morning and she had these recently. These are lovely postcards, right? And they were designed with stories on the back of them. They're there in really good quality. They can be used as soft copy pieces. They can be used as hard copy pieces. That's another piece of collateral that you don't have to prepare that you can use, okay? So that's just giving you an example of what is there at the moment. Market diversification and synergy. I think this is huge. It's one thing I really want to do with the network, and that is to help the ports and the businesses in and around those ports to develop new untapped market opportunities, which will help to extend your season, increase your footfall, and fill the gaps. We have a module here in one of our courses called Mind the Gap. It goes back to my time in London listening to those bloody tubes telling me to mind the gap. But you have to look at the gaps. And if anything like that, we'll be helping you as part of the prep to look at the gaps in your business. Look at the gaps. How can you fill them? What do you need to do to fill them? And again, it's very tourism specific, and the businesses around the port, okay? And the ports benefit from referrals. And you have your ports, places, app, and inclusion, which can help you with diversification and synergy as well. Okay. Okay, support and learning from industry specialists, very, very important. We have very good relations with a lot of these specialists because we're affiliated with them in one way or another. So we're going to have presentations from specialist speakers from the likes of Fáilte Ireland, Visit Wales, local authority representatives, social media specialists, port representatives, academic third level experts that can help you learn more and open up new ideas in your own head as well, because they don't know everything either, but it might spark something out of you that will benefit your port. Then the value workshops, the first one that is scheduled, and we have six of them, isn't it, Jenny? 6 of them are scheduled at the moment, but there will be more, I'm sure, coming down the track. But the value workshops, the first one is happening on the 19th of October. And there'll be information sent out about that. And it's about heritage through the lens, embracing film and video mediums. And I know that the lovely Rita Singer is here, and she's from the Welsh side, originally German side, Rita. But she's going to come and talk about the work that they've done and how those pieces can be utilized by the ports and by the businesses in and around those ports. Video, just for those that aren't aware of it, is read ahead of text now on Google. So it's a hugely powerful piece online, and it's something that we, in the tourism sector, one of the biggest challenges for the tourism sector is to make what they do, make what you guys do tangible. That was always the struggle that I found when I was in the sector. How do I make eating a meal tangible, going out for a boat ride tangible? So video helps to do that. And they're beautifully made. We'll share some of the links to them afterwards. There's going to be a savvy social media workshop done and delivered, again, specifically around ports and tourism businesses and those who rely on the tourism business, the tourism sector for some or all their business. So if you're a cafe, if you're a hairdresser, if you rely on that traffic coming into your port, then this will be of benefit to you. Another workshop we're going to do is developing your story with creative and engaging storytelling for marketing magic, something we do all the time with different businesses. And I think there's a lovely opportunity to do that with each of the 5 ports. They're very, very different ports and locations, which is nice. I like that. And developing your experience as well and what you're offering to the visitor that comes to your area. Using smart tourism tools and resources to promote your port and your business. So we'll go through some of the resources that are online and offline, that some of them, as I mentioned earlier, that are free, that will help you in your business. We'll help people to build a business and heritage tourism strategy in another workshop where we'll go through the steps of doing so. And then we'll talk about quality collaboration for seasonal growth and how do you do that. So at the moment, they are the 5 or 6 workshops that we have scheduled right now, but there are other ideas in the pipeline as well. And we will hope to we have some speakers secured for most of them, and we're just waiting on some others to confirm. So they're the workshops and the specialist speakers. Okay, one thing that I think is hugely important, and it's often forgotten about, is the community around each location. And I think it's important, particularly in the ports, because the community live in around the ports. There's a real sense of a place. One area that I love going to in Wales, actually, when I go over, is Port Call. And you know, it's the people over there. It's the people. It's an active port. There's a huge, it's always busy, and there's always something going on. And likewise on the Irish side, and it's not a port, but it's actually a place that stands out. We've done a bit of work there recently up in Graignamanagh in Kilkenny. And again, it's the people. It's the people. So it's not just you on your own providing a service. Absolutely, that's of massive value. But it's also the community in your area that makes that experience for the visitors that come to it. So the effect that this can have on the local community, it will support employment growth. It will support economy. If you can extend your season and your bed nights or the amount of people that use your services, then you've more money coming into the area, which affects directly, positively will affect your local economy. It helps the experience, the overall experience that people have when they come to a location isn't just about going to a hotel. Absolutely, that's an element of it. Going to a hotel, going to an activity, and then they're in their car and they're gone. It's about how they feel, that intangible piece when they're in an area. Okay, support. It's about engaging that support from the community, right? And they engaging the support from you guys as well. We are nothing without our communities, and they are nothing without us in them. So that's something that we will be looking at. The end game for everybody really is, I suppose, your ports are the key access points to each of the regions. That's how people come and go, okay? If they're traveling that way. But it's also time to recognize their value to you, to your community, to your region, to your business. And it's not just about, to my mind, it's not just about bringing them in through the port and hoping they stay there. It's about when they come into any part of your county area. So if they come into Pembrokeshire, but they don't come in through the port, well then what's going to make them come to Pembrokeshire? Same with Wexford. If they come in through Cork and they're doing a trip down to Wexford or in and around Wexford, how can you get them to the port? And all you can do is put as much focus into it and work positively. And as I always say here, you got to give it welly. You've got to put your full 100% into it and have a standard for it. And if you want to make progress and you want to collaborate effectively and positively, then this is absolutely an opportunity for you. I'm delighted to see that, you know, the three bodies involved, the EU funding programme, universities, and the University in Wales and the University in Cork, that this is a really positive initiative. And I personally was delighted to see it even before we got involved in it, because it's proactive, it's a bit innovative, and it's also specific to the sector, which sometimes I feel the sector gets lost or forgotten about a little bit when it comes to the likes of networks and support and progress. So I've kind of ran through that a little bit, but I'm now going to open the floor to you for any questions. Anyone got any questions for me?
I'll jump in there, Max. This is Deirdre. I'm here in my new role, Max, was County Wexford Chamber.
Well, congrats on that new role. No better woman.
Yeah, so Emma was on obviously earlier on, and I understand she's meeting yourself next week. I suppose from our point of view, Rosslare is huge. So we had about 2 weeks ago, we had the CTU president Veronica Campbell was speaking. So I suppose the two big developments in terms of Rosslare Port will be your offshore energy. And again, that whole thing of improving access in terms of Brexit and improving access to France. So I know you'll be talking to Emma, but just in terms of us, I suppose, what are you looking for from us and how can we help? How can the Chamber help?
I suppose the chambers are key really in each area, Deirdre. And I'm a member of Wexford Chamber myself. I think to communicate the fact that this is happening as well. I mean, we will do it ourselves, but you know, to engage interested bodies and to come on board as well if you can and if you have time, because I think it's to try and work together, right, rather than, you know, everyone is
Silos.
Yeah, exactly, Deirdre. And I mean, there's strength in numbers. And also, you know, if you feel there's anything to contribute and to just increase awareness about it also, I think it's important, because I don't know about everybody here, but we get a ton of emails here all the time. And some of the time I don't get them. I don't get to read them. I don't get to read the Wexford Chamber newsletter all the time, you know. So it's just to remind people of what's happening as well. Because I know there are some chamber members that may be interested in this. Absolutely. Rosslare is a big area.
You're looking for businesses in the Port area, Max, is it?
In and around
Tourism
the Port area,
businesses.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to focus too much, because I'm just conscious that there's 4 other ports. But while I'm speaking to you, like Killinick, Kilmore, Banno, Carrigan Banno, you know, because there's the Norman Way out there as well, and some entities in the town as well, that key entities that I've spoken to separately, but they can't make it this morning, but they would be interested as well.
Businesses, sound, thanks, Max.
Thanks, Deirdre. Maura, you have your hand up.
I have, Max. Thanks for that presentation. First of all, can we get a copy of that, because I missed half it? I'm so sorry.
Absolutely, we'll be sending out a recording.
Lovely. And the other quick question I have, like that, it was like, how much of an area, of a radius, are we doing beyond the port? Because I would know of small kind of one-person businesses in the Bridge Townie, in the Murn Townie areas, all of those who don't know anything about this training, these webinar things going on at all. But like that, we need to let everybody know that they're happening, because unless we collaborate with each other and we already know what's on our doorstep, but not necessarily what's on the doorstep of the other ports, which we should know. And that's that whole network and thing, which, you know, nearly everyone on this call, we're all great at doing it, but we need to extend it to the people who don't know about this.
100%.
And get it out there. So there is no specific radius that we can go out that far, like, is there?
Not at the moment. I mean, this is one of the stumbling blocks that we found starting this project, and I'm sure Claire, who's here from UCC, won't mind me saying this, but from our perspective, where do we stop and start? But I think we have to be very definitive about, well, business owners that are interested in making progress in the sector. And we've contacted a huge amount of businesses. We haven't been able to contact everybody because we do have clients as well to look after, but we will be doing that as well, Maura, in the coming weeks for sure. That's something.
Brilliant, great. So we just need to let everybody know as well.
Absolutely, Maura, we'd appreciate that.
That's great. Thanks a million. Well done. Looking forward to getting involved in it.
Lovely.
Bye-bye.
And we'll be looking forward to having you on board. Thanks, Maura.
Okay, bye-bye.
Anyone there from the Welsh side have any questions for me? Because I don't want you to be left out either.
Can you hear me now?
I can, and that's a lovely, lovely accent.
Yeah, it's good old Holyhead flat accent.
That's all right, Barry. We'll take that. I like that.
I don't know who else is around that's joined us from my area, the Holyhead area. I know Will Stewart is there, so but I'm not sure who else is. Probably I'm a little disappointed in the take-up in the Holyhead area, apart from the museum and a couple of others. The local authority are difficult to deal with at the best of times. Is that going to be an important aspect to you to get them involved?
It's not. It'll be their choice, I guess, Barry. It's an opportunity, and you know, it's up to everybody to either get involved or not. The network will still progress. It will still move forward and be facilitated and delivered. Absolutely, but I have a feeling. I know we've tried to contact a few people in the local authority there as well, and I think it will happen. It will happen, Barry, because it's a 5. But regardless, you know, I think it's important that it moves forward for each of the entities, regardless of that.
Yeah, you know, we've got Stena here who own the port, and have you had any contact with them? Have you had a response from them?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment.
These are critical people.
They are.
Authority,
they are.
Big business in the town.
Anyone we've spoken to, Barry, sorry for interrupting you.
No,
and I don't mean to, and hope you don't think I'm being rude. Anyone we've spoken to, and I think the ladies here with me will vouch for this, it's been really positive, really positive. But it's a lot of people couldn't make this morning. We had about 30 scheduled that registered, but a lot of people have requested the recordings as well. And I've scheduled a lot of calls now over the next couple of weeks as well with people and meetings. So obviously these things don't happen overnight, but we have to start.
Well, as you can imagine, that the museum's been going for many years, and we're well in the community. We have a very strong standing in the community, and we can influence, and we have connections with local authority, councillors and others like that. So please, if you feel we can help in any way, because
Barry, I really appreciate that.
Without this getting going and our local community taking it up, the museum, just thinking about the museum, we're not going to benefit from it. And we're a business. We've got to keep going. We're directors of a company.
Absolutely.
I know we are the guardians of the town's heritage. So, we feel we've got an important part to play. But please, if you feel we can help in any way, on a personal or collective
thank you, Barry. I do appreciate that. And this is why I love the Welsh. In fairness, I have to say there's been really, really good contribution made at all the meetings we've had. We've had lots of them, and we started this really properly in July. And the prep and research and all that and the contacts. So we've got the 200 businesses so far, Jenny, that expressed interest just across the 5 ports. And so we'll see what happens out of that. But yeah, that would be great. And I know Rihanna there made a comment, and I think she's right. I think the key is to pass the word around your local business more to help each other thrive. Yes, I agree with you. It must be hard to contact people otherwise, unless it comes from the other local businesses. And something, people have actually volunteered help with this piece as well. So some of them are on this call, and I do thank them for that. Martin Crampton, Elizabeth MacDonald, and others there on the Welsh side. I really do appreciate all that. And also people on the Dublin side have been really helpful, and in Wexford as well. So all that is appreciated. So I think people have hands raised there now. Who wanted to ask me a question there? I've missed the hand raising. Gary.
Yeah, I suppose, Mags, I came on here this morning not really knowing what I was coming into. So maybe for the next one, a little bit more information or a mission statement of what the group, the outcome of it might help to engage, some engagement from some of the companies. But on that, is there any particular actions you want us to do for yourself or for this to grow, or is there particular companies you want us to target? At
the moment, Gary, first of all, on the mission side of things, that's all ready to be sent out to you with the recordings after this. So you'll all get that. With the actions, we'd love support just to increase awareness of this, because it is being funded by the EU. We've got really good people involved, and we want it to be of benefit to the ports. So if you think of any businesses or entities, organizations, stakeholders, other representatives in the local areas that might benefit from this or be interested in it, then absolutely share our details, and we'll be happy to communicate with them, if that makes sense. Does that answer the question, Gary? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just, I suppose, look, I do a lot of work in other ports. We're an engineering side, it's not hospitality. And it was only by chance that I came across your post on LinkedIn last night. So, there you go. Just increase awareness, I suppose, after this week.
And I think as well, it's really, I want to just, and Gary, you've touched on something there that I want to talk about for a minute. It's not just the tourism hospitality sector that we're looking at, right? There's other businesses in the ports that are affected, like Stena. We've already started looking at Stena, Irish Rail. There's a lot of development happening in each of the ports as well. Like, these are not, Irish Rail is Irish Rail. It takes people from A to B. But as these ports develop, if there's more increased traffic, it helps them. It helps you guys if you're doing business down in those ports, Gary, from an engineering perspective. If there's more activity, it's going to help those businesses. if there's if there's, like I mentioned, hairdressers before, right, or beauticians, if there's more traffic going in and out to the ports, then absolutely there's going to be more benefit to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose there was just a lot of unknowns coming into this morning, that's all. But
yeah, that's why it's an information webinar. Yeah.
Answers the questions probably we didn't have beforehand.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question there? You're all very quiet and shy.
Hi Mags, it's Karen here in the Heritage Park.
Karen, lovely to see you. How are you?
I was just typing a comment there. I can delete it now. Just to reiterate what other participants have said, delighted that this has started. Looking forward to working with everybody. And I love that cross population of knowledge and support, which is super. If myself or anybody here at the park can help in any specific way, if we need a destination for face-to-face meeting within this area, please reach out and get in touch. Have my contact details.
Karen, I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. And I know as well that the Welsh side and yourself would have a lot in common, given the business you're in there. So yeah, no, absolutely appreciate that. Claire, would you like to say anything?
Can you hear me?
I can, Claire Nolan. How are you?
Hello, Mags. Thank you so much. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It kind of, yeah, you've voiced everything that we really want to see happen with this network. And I think it's lovely to see the Heritage Park here and Barry from the Maritime Museum in Holyhead, because I think there's a lot to be said for bringing together, having conversations between the museums and heritage centres that are attached to the different ports. So because there's just so much involved. There's so much potential. And it's just essentially getting everybody talking to each other cross-coastally. Which probably hasn't happened really in the way that it could. So yeah, I think there's nothing else I can contribute to what in terms of your offer. I think it speaks for itself. I think we're trying to reach out to people daily as well, to just put the word out there, and I think that's the most important thing, is just to get it across, because I think it's, like you say, people are in their own silos and they don't hear about these things. And it would just be a real missed opportunity, I think, for all manner of businesses if they're not aware of it. So the more people can spread the word, the better this is going to be, really, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were pleasantly surprised with the amount of engagement we had, in the last couple of days. And an awful lot of people couldn't make this morning. But I had a couple of calls yesterday as well, from the Welsh side and from the Irish side, with real genuine interest and apologies for not being able to make it. And I think, post-COVID as well, guys, I eat and drink this stuff in terms of business and in terms of tourism. I tried to get out of the sector operationally and leave it, but it kept pulling me back in. It's like a bit of a drug. But I think I want to see people succeed, and I want to see anything we get involved with, I want it to help potential be reached. It's not a case of, there has to be quality collaboration and consistency, contribution, input, and all that, diverse and all as it might be, has to be welcomed and accepted as well. And I do think there's massive opportunity. I know in Wales and in Ireland, the tourism sector is one of the backbone industries. That's another thing we have in common. It's one of those industries that gets us out of recessions. It lifts us up by the neck when we're in trouble. And I think, and it's hard work, hard graft. You'll never work as hard as you do either on a farm, in construction, or in tourism. You won't. But those industries are the ones that keep us going in the dark times. And I think we have to, COVID has pushed us has positively persuaded us into progress, as I always say, to do things a little bit differently. And I have a couple of ideas already about how these ports can work together in a collaborative way. and how they can benefit each other, and it's not complicated stuff, and keep it simple. When you're operationally in the sector, you don't need to be bamboozled by complex stuff that can be simplified. You need something that is wham bam done, with really quality direction and quality guidance. I'm also a business mentor as well, so we're going to bring a bit of that. And one of the things that we're going to bring to the table, and it'll be in the further information that's going to be sent out after this, is we wrote a program. It's a long time, well, about 8 years ago now, for the sector, called OTT, and it's Optimum Tourism Trading. So there's a couple of modules in there that I'm going to bring to the table that we can see if they benefit businesses in terms of the off-season piece, prepping for the next season. Barry, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just a question. As a network now, are you going to have a formal membership of this? So we'll, with a listing, so we know who's who, and I recognize a few faces and names here, but not everybody, and it would be good to have that sort of knowledge of who's involved in this.
Well, I'll tell you at the moment what I might do, if everybody is happy for me to do this, is everybody that's here this morning, I'll share an email contact, if that's okay with everybody. If somebody would prefer me not to, please let me know. That's okay too, but that could be a starting point. But I think long term down the road, Barry, there will be a list of members, and that'll be just circulated on approval with other members.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, because a network we have to know who's
absolutely
on.
Absolutely.
But not a network.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is just the information webinar. There's a lot of other steps in the mix here as well in the process, but we're being very proactive. We have a lot of stuff done, so it will be structured correctly. There will be a proper network structure on it. There will be a schedule of events and speaking pieces. In that, we're going to be very mindful of what I spoke about earlier on, which is peak season and prep season. So we're going to be very mindful of how we structure things and how things are timetabled. Any more questions?
Last one, Max, if you don't mind.
Just tell Deirdre.
Any businesses that we do have in mind, where can we send them for information, or what email, or what can we send through to them?
Well, I'll tell you, you can send them to myself or to Jenny. My own email address. I'll send it out to you, to everybody here, and I'll send Jennifer. Jennifer will actually be sending out the communication, so she'll share contact details, and there'll be an expression of interest sent out as well, and it's purely just an expression of interest if you'd like to get involved in your local area for this.
Yeah, sound. Thanks. Is
that okay?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, right. If there's no other questions, I'm going to bring everything to a close, and thank you all again for taking time out of your day to come here and listen to me. And I do appreciate it, because I know how valuable time is when you're working. And if there's any suggestions afterwards, please feel free to communicate them to me. The best thing, really, because I don't check social media all the time, and we are out with clients and on calls with clients as well every day. So if you want to direct it to either my email address, which Jenny will provide to you, and I'll actually share it here on the screen again. Oh, Jenny's going to pop it in here to the chat box. So if you want to either contact myself or Jenny, feel free to do so. Claire, you have your hand raised.
Sorry, it just occurred to me. I think I'll try and fit everything in before we close. It was just to, if it would help, I guess our image or our vision is to sort of imagine a trail that's running between all the ports, in terms of the heritage stories that they share between each other, but also the businesses. And I mean, for instance, one of the people who's connected with us, Joey Patton, he's not based in Holyhead, but I know he's close by, and he's a great supporter of the project. He kind of took the idea of following all the ports in the project on a cycling route, and he created a cycling route. He's got a blog out there to show the route, and we're eventually going to sort of fit it into the website somehow as well. But that just gives a really nice, visualization of how these places are connected, and how maybe something like cycling tourism, could be connected. And that you can have twinning of businesses across the sea. I know somebody was talking about maybe, that a B&B or a hotel in Rosslare might have discounts for people coming from, from Fishguard or Pembroke Dock or something like that. So these kinds of ideas they're just some of the things that we had thought about. And I'm sure you're way ahead with that, Mags, already. So
yeah, we've some of that stuff, but not all of it. We have some of it all right, mapped out. And I like the way you're thinking, Claire, because it's pretty much, we've a lot of that stuff in our heads as well, and on paper here. I actually think you can actually draw a very tangible picture of how to link up all the different spots, and it can be done very simply. And that Joey Patton has shown that actually with the cycling tour. So it's little initiatives like that as well that you mentioned. They all count, they all matter.
Yeah, and then they can be connected very visually using the app as well.
Yeah.
So just wanted to drop it in if it helps people to kind of see how everything links up, a bit more easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's always a challenge in tourism and port areas, is to make it tangible. Thanks, Claire. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm going to draw to a close. We're 11:30. Thank you again for your time. And if you have any queries whatsoever, do feel free to contact myself or Jenny on those email addresses that she has just shared there in the chat. We are open to opinion, contribution, input in a positive and proactive way, and that's what it's all about. And just to reiterate again that this port network is for people who want to make progress, and businesses who are focused and committed to that. And I think there's a lot that can be done to refresh, re-energize what's already there, and use what's coming from the past and bring it into the future, if that makes sense. Okay, wishing you all a good day, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.